Our first guest is a talented actor who's appeared in the films Risky Business, of course, and Beverly Hills Cop. He currently co-stars in the television program Perfect Strangers. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Bronson Pinchot. Bronson. How you doing?
Where is it 10 to 1? I mean,
it's 10 to 1 all across the United States right now. If you were at home watching this show right now, it would be 10 to 1.
Oh, right.
You see how that works?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we're pretending in here.
No, that's Carol Burnett once told me she did a Christmas show in October or something, right. And they told the audience, and her husband was Bruce, and they said, now look, we do questions and answers, but this is going to air at Christmas, and it was August or something. I said, okay, and the whole audience said, yes, 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 and
sure.
We love the Bob Mackie, let's go.
Yeah.
And so then they rolled, and the first question was, what did you get for Christmas? So that's what I've just done right there. And this is a funny, funny Bronson Pinchot moment.
Let's see, now the last time you were here, you were in a play.
I hadn't gotten into it yet.
You were starting a play. Yeah, and forgive me, I don't remember the details of this.
Well, you're the lucky one. I've blocked many of them out, but this was a very special endeavor called Zoya's Apartment, which was a Russian director came over, and he didn't speak any English, and he brought this play, and it was supposed to be about American actors encountering a Russian text and a Russian director. Mm-hmm. And I was in it. It was...
Are you all right?
Well, it was...
There was kind of a pause there.
There was nothing that was right about... I mean, there was horrible... The man was so nice. He didn't speak any English, which was the one saving grace, because he couldn't understand the reviews, you see, which were unkind.
Now, let me go back here a second.
Wait,
the director was Russian.
The director was Russian, and the script was Russian. Did not speak English.
Right.
Although no, I can't tell that story. But I had bought a button on 8th Avenue that said, "May I something you," and he could read, he could spell out the letters. So he went around asking people, "May I you," which was good, right? But
wait a minute, you can buy buttons? You can buy buttons
an 8-inch diameter button. Yes, you can.
And some people will say, well, no, thank you very much. Others say,
given
yes,
the way
certainly.
this play was going, you needed to have a button that said, "May I you." You needed it. So anyway. Now but it was marvelous. And also the woman playing opposite me was a Canadian actress that decided about 2 weeks in she needed to add some punch to the performance. So she started to do like a major English accent, I mean, like that made Alec Guinness sound like Bruce Springsteen. I mean, it was the hugest...
Obviously not called for because it's a Russian
play.
script.
But he couldn't hear the difference, so like during run-throughs, we would be going, then we'd turn to him like... he was like... But anyway, he... Now, I accidentally did a handstand on her face during one performance. Are you curious to know how this happened?
Yeah.
Well, she had this bright red hair, and I had to do this long speech when I first came. I was her ex-lover. That wasn't her ex-lover, but my character was her character's ex-lover. I was supposed to, if I had been her ex-lover, we wouldn't have these problems. But anyway, I was supposed to come in and do this long speech about all the terrible things that had happened to me in my life since I had last seen her. And one of the things I had done was I had been an actor in provincial theater, and she was always listening to it on all these cushions on this big bed. Yeah. And I said to her one night after the performance, I said, you know, every time I do that speech and I talk about being an actor, and you're lying on the bed with your red hair, you remind me of Maggie Smith in Othello, and I want to take one of those cushions and like smother you with it for a moment. and I said, you know, and she said, well, darling, why don't you try it? And I said, well, you mean you'd like that? And she said, I think it would be marvelous. I think it would be marvelous if they would know that you had played Othello. So I said, you think they'd get it? And she said, yes, I do. And I said, do you want to rehearse it? And she said, no. I said, then let's do this, because I don't think we're ready. I said, some night when it's going really brilliantly, I'll just do it, and you'll know. It'll be a sign that I think it's going really well. She said, all right, darling. And anyway, in the meantime, we had this terrible fight because we had this humongous, like, 5-minute kiss, and then she had a throat infection at one point, and I said, let's not kiss until the throat infection's gone. And she said, I've never been so insulted in my life. In England, nobody says that. And I said, yes, but they're all sick. So let's not kiss. So we had this big fight, and we stopped speaking. But anyway, I forgot that we weren't speaking. And one night, we were doing this scene, and it was going so well. It was like, you know, like our eyes were glittering and the audience was like rocking back and forth.
No, come on.
Come
Get
on.
a hold of yourself.
You can tell.
The audience was not rocking back and forth. Was this a group of Moonies, or what were you doing there?
No, all right, they were vibrating slightly from side to side. And it is over a subway station, so maybe it wasn't me, but it really was going well. It was like, you know, just one of those moments where, we're doing it, and her eyes are glistening, and I thought, you know, I bet she knows. I bet we're having a psychic thing that she knows it's the time. So she's on this thing like this, and she's on her back, too, which usually she was sitting up, so I thought, oh, she's ready. And it was going so well. So she's lying on these things, and she's right near the edge. Like, her head is here, and it ends here. And it was a building to this crescendo, and I said, and then, I was an actor and provincial leader, and I grabbed the cushion, and I turned like this, and I didn't realize there was no bed behind her. So from the momentum and the adrenaline, and there was nothing. I thought there was going to be bed behind her, so I went like this and put it on her face, and then the rest of my body flipped up over my hand, and I did a one-arm handstand on her face and went over her onto the other side.
Nice move, though.
Fell on my back. And then there was a moment that was where all the air was sucked out of it, because I thought I was like there, you know. And I thought, now I have to come around and see her face. She's not going to be a happy woman. So I came around. Oh, more, but that means we have to leave soon?
Finish up here.
No, anyway, I came trembling. But first of all, I thought maybe I had fused my spine. And also, so I thought I was going to come around.
Work that into the play, isn't it?
I was going to have a fused spine, and her face was going to look like one of the characters from Dick Tracy. Just totally like that. Well, it might have been an improvement. Anyway, I came around. Come on, now, no.
Weasel.
All right, shall I leave?
No,
I can leave. All right,
finish
so anyway.
the story.
Fickle people, she kissed me with a throat infection. How about booing her for that?
Exactly. She's,
All right, so anyway.
Get her here tomorrow night and we'll boo her. We'll take care of her.
Anyway, I did a handstand on her face, and I came around, and I was expecting to find an indented face, like those things at Disneyland and like, that go in. And it was all right.
Convex.
So I thought, huh?
I don't know. I'm just
Convex.
Going through the only geometric terms I know.
Anyway, she was fine, so I thought we were fine, and then I thought, oh, maybe it was kind of even funny, like maybe it. Anyway, the minute the lights blacked out, she went for me, and I just ran away. And it isn't really a very uplifting.
You should have shown her your button. We'll do a commercial, and then we'll be right back.